Hey guys, what's up? Happy Friday. How you guys doing? Doing well, I hope. Doing well. I'm doing all right. Tired, but we're doing good. We're doing good. Grab my headphones real quick. But yeah, hope you guys had a good week. Hope you guys finish strong. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me. Did some snooping, found some a lot of interesting articles, ranging from a bunch of different topics, for from stuff happening in Star Wars with the Acolyte, of course. That's always gonna, till it's over, it's always gonna be a goodie. To some interesting video game information, found out to more people starting to stand up against the woke culture, which is good, which is always good. Needs to happen because woke ideology is garbage and needs to be destroyed. But yes, indeed. But before we get started, make sure to smash that subscribe and punch that thumbs up and turn on notifications to get notified when I go live. Right now, we are on Rumble, YouTube, X, and Kick. And you can find my other social medias listed in the description. Or on X, you can find it in my link tree link in my bio. And if you want to go beyond just helping pushing the algorithm, maybe consider checking out membership and subscription tiers to help the channel grow. But regardless, I am humbled and blessed to just have you guys coming and hanging out with me. What up, Pug Wedgie? If I'm pronouncing that right. What's up, PKG? In Alaska right now for the Bristol Bay salmon season, working on a boat. God bless. Nice, brother. Hope you're having a good time up there. Very cool, very cool. But yeah, let's hop into this. Let's have some fun, shall we? Yeah, like I said, we have a bunch of interesting stuff that I found. Let's go ahead and boom. There we go. So this comes from Niche Gamer. I remember playing a little bit of Bubsy back in the day. But apparently there's going to be something called Bubsy in the Perfect Collection. Apparently it's been announced. Or I can't really do a good R roll, but perfect. Good enough. What's up, Komanga? It's Friday night. Indeed. But apparently there's going to be a collection made with Bubsy, publisher, Atari, and developer, limited run games, and already it's failed. Have announced Bubsy in the Perfect Collection, a new collection of Bubsy games and content. It's in development for Windows PC via Steam, Xbox Series XS, Switch, and PS5 with a release set of 2025. Now, why even need limited run games if it's going to be available for Steam? It makes no sense. Do they actually make a physical edition of Steam games and just give you like a code? Regardless, I'm getting tired that limited run games is honestly getting all these opportunities to make these sort of games when they cancel people for wrong think. And apparently use cheap CDR burned discs, like apparently with the plumbers don't wear ties stuff. But garbage. I have looked up alternatives to limited run games, but sadly they always seem to get the better stuff, which not to be surprised. If they're going woke, then of course. So is Bubsy a celebrated icon from the mascot wars of the early 90s or a platforming punchline? Well, he's certainly not one of the iconic mascots. Like, I remember playing Bubsy for Sega Genesis. Really hard game and couldn't get very far. Team at Limited Run has built a new collection to find the answer. I mean, whatever. So it's going to be a collection that is a playable history that includes games, artifacts, and interviews. All the games have been carefully updated for modern PCs, sure, and consoles using limited runs, proprietary Carbon engine, or you could just get the ROMs, and that's that. Along the way, the team was able to smooth out some of the game's rough edges, which I'm sure there's patches out there. So at the helm of the project is Limited Run's Audie Sorlier, a producer, author, Bubsy's world heavyweight champion, and arguably the world's foremost expert on the furry franchise. Okay. So apparently with him and teaming up with Limited Run and Atari, he has created the ultimate retrospective celebration of Bubsy. The 3'6" tall, 80-pound bobcat with a pet armadillo named Arnold. What could possibly go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? That was actually one of the lines from Bubsy. I remember that line. What could possibly go wrong? There we go. Make that. So what is Carbon Engine? Created internally at Limited Run Games, the Carbon Engine is a development tool that allows legacy content to be ported to modern platforms. It uses emulation as base. Then there's no... I thought emulation was bad, according to the video game companies. On top of which the Carbon Engine builds features like UI, rendering audio, data managing controller inputs, and console-specific SDK features like trophies. It allows Limited Run to put out highly accurate emulation-based ports of classic games for modern hardware. Literally, it's just because they have a stamp of approval that they can do all this, which I don't know whose dick they sucked in order to do this, but you could literally find ROMs out there as well. And remember when like all the companies were butthurt because people made literally software like this that would allow you to rip all the data and have a one-for-one port? But if people have seen the recent Donkey Kong Returns HD remastered, someone showed a side-by-side comparison on X. The difference between the Wii version and now the supposed HD restored, and the coloring is all wrong. I pointed out this before in past shows. Nintendo's ports, it makes no sense how they cannot make a one-to-one copy of it when apparently people like this can do it easily. I don't get it. Well, I kind of do. They either, one, don't know, which is kind of scary, or they don't care. I chalk it up to the latter, and they just don't care. Emulation is the way and the truth in the life. It's becoming like that. You can actually own it, like digitally, actually own it. Now that can be debatable. They'll debate it, be like, well, you downloaded it illegally. It's like, oh no, I just ripped it. I made a copy of the game I already bought. So, you know, you can chew on my butthole for all I care. Excuse my sarcasm. Nah, it's all good. Old, well-loved release can find a second win on all new hardware using the Carbon engine. It is a core component of Limited Run's vision for a world that is forever perfect. I'm confused, though, because, okay, they apparently have an X thing here. Oh, it's a video? I'm not going to watch it. Oh, yeah, they did like a James Bond parody. But what exactly? Okay, that didn't like explain anything. Like what games are going to be on it? Like how much stuff are you going to be getting? They said like interviews and artifacts or something. But other than that, I don't really know what we're showing here. Well, if you're a fan of Bubsy, there you go. There's a collection coming out, unfortunately made by a garbage company who shouldn't get any support whatsoever because they fire people for woke ideology. But whatever. Well, they fire people for non-woke ideology, excuse me. All right. So I found some articles kind of showcasing on how apparently more and more people are talking about the dangers of canceling people. Apparently, this comes from Bounding into Comics. Doctor Who's actress Alex Kingston decries cancel culture. I don't think people realize how dangerous canceling people is. Oh, they absolutely 100% know how dangerous it is. That's the whole point of doing it. You see, cancel culture is like an abusive person who's figured out a way to actually hide the bruises and not, in spots where a lot of people may not notice. And then they can feign ignorance by saying, well, I'm not technically involved and stuff like that. But in the end, they're abusers. People who try to go out and cancel people are abusers. So like most sane individuals in the world, actress Alex Kingston is both absolutely fed up with and ready to move past the entire unforgiving concept of cancel culture. Kingston, who readers may recognize as having played Silver Song in Doctor Who and Dina Lance in Arrow, offered her criticism of cancel culture during a recent interview given to UK's news outlet The Telegram in promotion of her upcoming appearance in Douglas is Cancelled, an ITV drama in which its titular news anchor finds himself under fire from society after making an off-color joke while on air. So pressed by the outlet's Gabriel Tate, oh gosh, that last name, Tate, for her thoughts on the entire phenomena, the actress asserted cancel culture is terrifying. Sort of fascistic, really, she added. I don't think people realize how dangerous canceling people is, what that has meant historically. A lot of people understand this. See, I'm sorry, but if you're now suddenly realizing that cancel culture is like absolutely retarded and dangerous, like welcome, like way to finally like catch up on everything. This is stuff we've been talking about for quite a while. But I remember when all these people were like, oh no, cancel culture isn't real, it's just made up and stuff, Again, these people know full well and leap for joy whenever they can cancel someone because, again, it's a non-physical way of destroying someone and leaving bruises and marks and beatings and stuff like that. Now it's becoming more so where they just don't care anymore and they're getting physically violent. I mean, we're seeing that with people like Alyssa Mercante calling out people to come fight her physically and then, of course, pussy out when people step up to the plate because it's all for clout and all of facade. Expanding on her viewpoint, Kingston continued, my generation is treading on eggshells, not knowing whether what you say will unintentionally hurt somebody. Well, there's an easy solution for that. You just say it. And if they get mad about it, they can leave. Or they can laugh it off and move on because that's how people handled it in the past. You shit talk back. You move on, world keeps on spinning. I get really confused about pronouns, for instance. I'm just not confident with how and when to use them. Okay, now you're starting to lose me here in terms of my support for you, if you would call it that. It's not like I'm a huge Alex Kingston fan. Pronouns are retarded. The made-up ones, that is. We've already had pronouns established, like, via God. Man and woman, that's it. However you feel about yourself or whatever, is usually comes from a sense of pride, because we're all sin inherent. A phase, which is starting to become, or not starting to become, it was always the case. They just didn't want to hear it because they would use pseudoscience to argue against it. or unfortunately something has happened to you as a kid or something like that. I mean, you can find the real studies out there, like with queer theory and all that stuff, and you'll learn that a lot of grooming and pedophilia is at the heart of it. There's no empathy or sympathy. Opinions are immediate and black and white. She ultimately concluded on her thoughts. I hope we'll start coming back to a place where people can be kinder to each other, both in thinking about what they're going to say and hearing about what's being said. Well, now you're just sounding like a little bitch. Sorry. Probably shouldn't have gone. See, that was pretty black and white. See, I said it just right then and there. I knew what I was saying. I even said, yeah, I probably should try to tone it down a little bit. But then in the end, I said it anyway. So whatever. To this end, Kingston then addressed the ever-growing discourse around the concept of authentic casting. Oh, now we're getting into this, i.e., casting actors in a role based on whether or not they share the exact immutable personal traits as a given character, and shared her hope that society can reach a balance where parts are open potentially to everyone, but within the right context. So this has been addressed already. Again, these people are making problems that aren't there. That's not to say that like none of this has ever taken place, racism, XYZ, all that stuff. But we know hiring someone based on their merit and their skills is the best course of action, and it works because it's been done 1,000 times in the past and no one's complained about it. But then you'll have the people be like, oh, well, behind the scenes, there was always this and this. Then you fix it behind the scenes. You do not bring it into the final product. And this is what these people are doing. It has to be in the final product now. It has to be. I mean, Hollywood's a cesspool. Like, don't get me wrong. It's become a cesspool for sure. Was it always that way? Maybe not. But, I mean, it's definitely has a lot of debauchery and corruption in it, that's for sure. Sometimes if you want to be historically accurate, you got to face the reality of what that would have meant in casting terms. You mean not like blackface or whitewash, or not blackface, but, well, I mean, that happened in the past. But whitewash or blackwashing and all that stuff. You mean that? Again, this can all be solved by just hiring the person who's the best actor or actress. And if the description clearly states that it's not a black person or a white person, Asian, XYZ, whatever, then that's a prime opportunity to hire someone based on their skill and whatnot. People should be allowed to explore roles they would not have been able to explore before, and also not be deprived of roles or even of written roles because they don't actually physically apply to them. This, I disagree to an extent. If a character has been established to be like a muscular superhero or whatever, you don't hire a fat person to play said hero. If you want to make a fat superhero, by all means, go ahead. Just don't get mad when it like doesn't sell or or the reception of them are poor. Again, because we've seen how this works. They bastardize these people, these characters, I should say. And then when any sort of criticism takes place, they go with just, well, you're just a bigot. You're just a racist. You're just blah, 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 blah. We need a sensible, fertile middle ground. And again, I've been saying this. This fertile middle ground, I was going to say myrtle. This fertile middle ground, this middle ground that you're asking for existed. It existed. It was in the past where people kept their shit to themselves or behind the scenes, And if they had a problem with it, you deal with it behind the scenes. It's always amazing when these issues happen, when people are when it's established, when you've been in the industry forever. Like the Me Too XYZ. Interesting on how you purposely chose to take all the abuse that you're saying happened in XYZ, which, I'm not denying that it's never happened. It has 100%. But you didn't report it then, or you didn't speak out against it then. And if you did speak out against it and you were kind of shut from the wayside, I don't know, go to the police then. At that point, is the acting industry worth your time? Some people said yes to it. When you got down on your knees and start sucking that dick, that to me gave, that's the answer that you gave. And now that you're established and rich and famous, now you can come back later and be like, oh, yeah, I regret doing that. I mean, yeah, you can regret doing it. Does that mean now you should destroy people's lives from it? And while not related to the concept of cancel culture per se, later on in the interview, Kingston was notably pressed for her thoughts on Doctor Who's current season 14, as penned by Russell T. Davies and led by actor Nudie Gatwa, I guess. Unfortunately for the curious, rather than having anything specific to say about the run early, either good or bad, the actress instead admitted, "I've been too busy to watch anything that needs my focus and attention." Well, that's a good choice, actually. That's actually a very good choice. I'm behind on that guy in the whole new world of Disney Plus. Well, you're not missing much. In fact, you're better off not looking into it. The fans will bring me up to date, no doubt. Dude, don't let the fans bring you up to date. The fans. Because you're going to have a lot of different opinions. By the looks of the series' current ratings, she's not alone in her thus far disinterest in the current running of Doctor Who. I don't care about the season's finale. Well, there you go. The more we read the article, the more that, she still has hints to me of liberalism inside of her. While it's good that she's kind of talking about it, again, we need a sensible, fertile middle ground. It's existed. I would say it was in the 90s and early 2000s. That was like the best times. That's what I think. So moving from an actor, we now have a composer, because Halo series composer Marty O'Donnell says video game industry now pandering because they fear being on the wrong side of some special interest group who can be very loud and very annoying. Well. In providing anecdotal confirmation to one of the most widely assumed reasons for the currently abysmal state of Western entertainment, original Halo series composer Marty O'Donnell has revealed that any and all such industries are currently living in fear of, quote, being on the wrong side of various special interest groups and their outrage mob. So I take this with a grain of salt, because there are actually CEO people who are with the special interest groups and with the mobs that have enough power to make it run the way it is. I also do agree of the fact of there are some people, obviously, who are indeed living in fear. Developers, people in high positions, XYZ, because they are scared of the special interest groups and the outrage mobs. But what we are learning now, and what has always been the case, and we're really starting to see it now, is that you give them any sort of pushback and they crumble like dust. You gotta, it's the waves. Of course, you're gonna face backlash when you push back against them. But if you can ride out the waves, these people will crumble. Because it's all talk. Because it's all for clout. They're so preoccupied with clout that any sort of pushback breaks them spiritually, mentally. Which sometimes that needs to happen. I'll say it. Needs to happen at some point. Because these people need to knock this shit off. Because the catch-22 is a lot of times you'll learn that these people never cared about whatever it is that they're claiming they cared about to begin with. It's like 80% of the time. So O'Donnell, whose talents helped to provide the soundtrack to each one of the mainline Bungie-developed Halo titles, spoke to this phenomenon during a June 19th appearance on noted conservative commentator Andrew Chapados, Eponymous Andrew Says podcast. You know, wondering if I should check this guy out. He's wearing the Angry Video Game Nerd t-shirt. He's got some cool movies in the background. I'm seeing Jaws. Or not Jaws. Why did I say Jaws? Terminator. Top Gun. I think it's because that looked like Jaws, but... Wait, is he really running for Congress? Huh. Following a general discussion about his current political campaign to represent Nevada in the U.S. House of Representatives. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Well, you learn something new every day, right? O'Donnell was eventually pressed by Chapados for his thoughts on the topic of DEI in video games, with the host inquiring, when you were involved in games, was representation on anybody's mind? Was the amount of diversity, the amount of transgender characters in games of every... or in games ever a topic that anyone thought that they should worry about? In turn, the esteemed composer affirmed, no, it wasn't. I have asked Doug TenNapel. I have asked Ruben Langdon. I have asked Vic Mignogna. Always the same answer. No, it wasn't. Or no on the front. Behind the scenes, it was kept there. There you go. There you go. And go woke, go broke. We keep seeing that happen over and over again, said O'Donnell. DEI is not diversity, equity, and inclusion. It is a code word for essentially a Marxist worldview of power structures. Yep. Destroy, evaporate, or eviscerate, and infest. That's what it is. There's so many catchwords that are being injected into the conversation. Exactly. Colonialization. Yep. Decolonialization. All these kinds of things. It is so far from what, especially in the entertainment business, what people should be worried about. Are you going to tell a good story? Are you going to make a good game? Are you going to do something that's compelling emotionally for people? That's fun for people. That's what creators should be concerned about. Thank you, Marty O'Donnell. Thank you for being smart. So pushing back against the popular narrative that prior to the 2010s, entertainment was composed solely of straight white people. First time I heard that, he continued, we've had our share of, I guess I would have to say, diverse characters, but it wasn't because we needed to make sure there was a certain percentage of, fill in the blank. It was because these were like either great actors or this was going to be a great character. Thank you. Thank you. But you see, that's never enough. And we saw this within the voice acting industry too. I saw it. When I actually would be getting auditions, I saw the transitions of them explaining who a character is, and then all of a sudden they started tacking on African American preferred, POC preferred. And then we started seeing people online on X talking about how, this needs to happen. If the character has a remotely darker skin color than a white person, it should go to a person of color because they need to get a foot up, even though literally the people in charge cater to them. But then again, they don't, because in the end, it's a dog-eat-dog world, and those people aren't going to give up their power. And the ones who do start to share their power with other ones, with the more intense weirdos, they're going to boot out the other people. That's the irony of everything. It was never any part of what our discussions were about. Like, let's make sure we fill in the blanks so the characters reflect perfectly the makeup of society. The U.S. Congress pretty much what he is telling Chapados. That is just such a creative, dampening way of approaching things. It's also a very bigoted, racist, and homophobic way of approaching at things too. Things I've been saying about what actually the woke ideology is. It's exactly that. It is literally everything that they project onto everybody else in its rawest form. And honestly, quite the most disgusting form, too. Because these people do mental gymnastics every day to verify that they're the ones in the right in the end. Or they're the victims when the situation calls for it. You know, they can never do wrong. They are God's greatest gift to the earth in figuring out how to set everything correct. Which, of course, we know is not true. And we also know that when the good Lord comes back and he's really angry and going to be slaying people, they may not be on the right side that they think they are. What I would like to call the Bennies of the world. It is better to be on the devil's side than in his path. So the fans don't necessarily reject movies or games because diversity or equity or inclusion kinds of things are forced into face. Certainly they don't like being preached to, but basically they are not good products. Very true, but now it is becoming that way because now these directors and actors are saying you need to accept this because it has a strong, very masculine female woman as the main character that's not white. And if you don't like it, then you're XYZ. And so people are going to go, okay, I don't like it then because of XYZ. You know, it's getting to the point where, you know, we've seen it. We've seen like Melanie Mack has said it when she gets called a bigot. She just, you know, that one from what? Review Tech USA. He set it up to call her a bigot. He called her a bigot and she said, yes, I am. So what's your point? Okay. It takes away their ammunition because that's all they have. And then it makes them look like a fat piece of shit. At the end of the day, it's not fun to play. It is not interesting. These characters don't sound real. Yes, because they aren't real. That's the point. They're not real. So it's amazing when you go to a movie or play a video game when reality is suspended for a little bit and you can just be entertained. It's amazing when you can successfully capture that. That's what ends up happening. People just don't like it. They're not good stories. They're not memorable. I would go as far as to say they are a bastardized version of it. That's what I would say. So Chapados presses further. Why do they keep doing it in terms of these developers? He revealed that the answer to his question was relatively simple. Fear. I can't say for certain what's in everybody's mind, but I know when I was there, when I was on the board of directors at Bungie, when I talked to the higher-ups at Microsoft, there's a lot of fear, and the fear started creeping in, explained the former Bungie exec. There's fear that you're going to essentially get on the wrong side of some special interest group who can be very loud and very annoying. Fuck them. Come on. We've seen them break down when there's any sort of pushback. Just tell them.
Shut up, bitch!
It's all you got. It's all you got to do. Just tell them. Tell them that. And then when they're like, "Oh, that's not fair," blah blah blah, and then you just.
That's your problem, fuckface.
You tell them that too. That's your problem. So let's placate those people. So I would say fear is probably one of the biggest things. I mean, I don't doubt that it is exactly fear, but I also think it's power control. I don't think in my experience that these are deeply held beliefs, he further detailed. You have to understand that especially in the big companies, the C-suits and the executives, all they are doing is looking at the bottom line. If they looked at the bottom line, then If anything, they should be listening to us because we get painted as being at the bottom of the line, apparently, because we're not, you know, we're not progressive enough. So they should still listen to us. Anyway, I honestly think a lot of these people are empty suits. They don't actually have core values. I would agree with that. Some do, some don't. So they adopt the core values of the moment to make sure they are on the right side so they don't get any sort of backlash. Yes, it's been proven time and time again. And that's an indictment against the kinds of people who end up running companies. But I've rarely found people with strong moral character running the companies. They tend to just go the way the wind blows, and it's going to take them a little while to realize that this is actually not helping their bottom line. There might be a few true believers out there, but it's a few and far between, in my opinion. Then he went on to voice his own frustration, apparently. Doesn't make sense. Almost nobody who ends up being at the top level of these entertainment companies actually ever made any entertainment. But isn't that like how it kind of always is in the end? Like one of my first bosses ever ran an oil changing technician place, and he knew nothing about cars. He just knew what he was trained and taught to do. I think he didn't go beyond understanding sort of stuff, you know? It's the same thing. They aren't actually directors. They're not artists. They're not musicians, writers, blah, 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 blah. They haven't created anything. They might have come from marketing or have an MBA or worked their way up through the production side of things where they're not really making things. They're just overseeing the production side. And so for some reason, I don't trust their judgment. They just don't have good judgment when it comes to this. And they have a lot of fear. So I would say fear is the big driving factor here. So then he was asked if he could personally remember an instance in which a given industry executive forced a game to conform to the, quote, dominant narrative. And he informed, I started seeing a little bit even during Halo 2, which goes back quite a ways. Ooh, we were making 2 in 2002, 2003, which was close enough after 9/11. And if you know the story of Halo, it's about the group of religious zealots that essentially will commit suicide to keep their religion going. That's the character we had for the Covenant. That started making Microsoft a little bit nervous because they felt felt like there could be some backlash from the Muslim community in the Middle East. They're the ones not playing the damn game. Oh my gosh. That maybe this could be seen as Islamophobic. So all of a sudden we were being asked to be very careful about some names of people or references and phrases and things like that. So I started seeing that and I thought, well, that's not necessarily unreasonable because we weren't trying to do some sort of allegory about the political situation in the world that had to do with the jihadists and all the rest of it. And he goes, maybe you know this story, but one of our main characters, the Arbiter, was not originally named the Arbiter. During the whole time we were making Halo 2, the character's name was the Dervish. We had recorded all the voice, I had directed all the actors, and everybody was using the term Dervish. And then we found out, oh, this could be seen as an insult because there are some Islamic religious figure known as the Dervishes. Oh my gosh. Who cares? So we had to change it. We were forced to change that name to a different name, so then we came up with the Arbiter. Arbiter sounds better, though, to be honest. I never was really happy about it. Oh, I guess I'm in the wrong, apparently. This is an artistic choice. This is what we had from the beginning. We are not trying to make any sort of political or religious comment. We had tons of religious imagery, the Ark, Halo, the Covenant. All these things are sort of imbued with the religious terminology. Ooh, excuse me. So I didn't see why the dervish was a problem, and we were forced to change it. I could see that the bigger the product, the more fingers would be in the pie trying to mess things up. Making a slight but relevant deviation from his main topic, he then noted that, by the way, if your plotline deals with an evil white person or an evil corporation, you're fine. Ah, there you go. Like evil white guys, especially men, and evil corporations, no problem, he told Chapados. You will never get pushback, and that's been around forever. And you can also be like, yeah, let's make the Christians hypocrites and bad people. That's easily always the Christians. Finally, bringing his thoughts on the topic to a close, he noted, it's going to be a while for this tide to pass through and maybe a while back, and we get back to, hey, let's let entertainment people and creative people make what they want. If you don't like it, don't buy it. But the thought police that's happening in the world is completely insane right now. It sure is. That was actually a really good article. I actually really, really enjoyed it. With that, make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the show, and make sure to turn on notifications to get notified when I go live. I'm going to step away here for just a second, going to fill up some water here, and I shall return momentarily. Again, remember, help the channel grow by pushing that algorithm, and if you want to help it beyond just that, maybe check out the membership and subscription tiers. All right, I'll be right back here in just a minute, folks. All right, we're back. We are back. Oh my. One thing wasn't. There we go. Yeah. Alrighty. Man, we're almost up to an hour already. Like I said, I had a lot of stuff that caught my interest. So we have Beyond Good and Evil. I was talking about this a little bit. I was playing it before until my graphics card crapped out. Apparently, the remaster includes a new mission connecting to the second game. That's awesome. So, according to Thursday's announcement, the upgraded version of the 2003 action-adventure game will include a new treasure hunt in which players can discover more about the protagonist Jade's childhood through cosmetic rewards. Yeah, I mean, cool, I guess. This exclusive new mission also reveals more about the narrative link to Beyond Good and Evil 2, showing Ubisoft's enduring commitment to the franchise. So they teased Beyond Good and Evil 2 way back in 2008. Dang. And the 20th anniversary edition will be available on all platforms the 25th, coming up here. It was then followed by almost a decade of silence before the game resurfaced in 2017 when the publisher revealed it would take the form of a prequel. So then it held a Beyond Good and Evil 2 live stream ahead of E3 2019, but the game did not appear at the show itself. The presentation revealed that a new unnamed Ubisoft studio would join the five Barcelona, Bordeaux, Mainz, Monoplier, and Sofia already working on the game. It was announced in 2020 that a featured film adaptation of Beyond Good and Evil was in the works for Netflix. So that's pretty cool. I mean, I've so far been enjoying Beyond Good and Evil. I need to continue that game. I need to get a new graphics card though so we can continue that one. But there's some fun for you. Let's see. So I've been seeing obviously some stuff with Star Wars. Apparently, we've got Star Wars Theory threatens lawsuit against Wikipedia, which I did. This is a rather, kind of a long article here, but like I kind of saw this on X, on how Wikipedia pretty much said something about how it's like, oh, we don't take. They pulled the whole "if you do this, you're not a fan" sort of thing, and it's so retarded. So, I guess Star Wars Theory is threatening a lawsuit against Wikipedia after the online Star Wars encyclopedia accused him and his followers of sending them death threats. Of course, because you're always 100% responsible for your followers, unless you don't call specifically and directly to a course of action. Not his responsibility. Any of my followers, I'm not responsible for your actions. I'm responsible for my actions. So Ash Rendar apparently said, "Hey, Star Wars Theory, these are your people sending death threats. Time to rein them in, condemn what they are doing. Time to put your money where your mouth is and back up your be respectful spiel you always say." He literally does. You literally just answered your own. He pretty much does that when he says be respectful. Again, do not apologize to these people. Do not apologize to the randos online, because they will lord it over you forever. That's what they did with Vic. Don't apologize. If you need to apologize, Vic is a prime example of what you should do, because when he heard about what Monica was saying, he tried to reach out to her privately to try to amend it. That is a Christian thing to do. The scripture talks about that before you actually take it to public. These people want to skip that because, again, this is how they can abuse and silence and beat down people they do not agree with by getting them canceled, because they, in their mind, say, well, I didn't physically do anything to them, so I'm in the clear. It's like, no, we know exactly what your intentions are. The arbiter sounds better. It does. She added, I don't use your I don't control my community excuse, because he doesn't. He doesn't. Every community is going to have, unfortunately, extremists in there. And there's only one person in this entire world that exists that is extreme and the truth and is right when he does it. That's the Lord. Theory responded by saying, politely F yourself. These aren't my people. Don't attach me to them. So, I mean, he's obviously responding like he would. Like, dude, not responsible. Again, my be respectful thing literally is the umbrella term that this weirdo is asking him to do. It's just she's not happy with it. She's not satisfied with it. And then he goes into talk about how he's also received many death and R threats to my past partners, poised threats to my mailbox, threats to my parents and animals, daily, nonstop. First for liking episode 3 when he changed his mind. So, yeah. I'm so fucking tired of people trying to constantly cry to me for other people's actions. Exactly. These people demand that you apologize for their people's actions. And if you fall for it, the apology is not going to be enough. We've seen this time and time again. So what do you do in this situation? Don't even apologize. Apologize to the people who you directly, I guess, if you did hurt someone, whoever you are directly involved with. If an apology needs to be made, you do it to those people in private. It's no one else's fucking business. But these people want to make it their business. This is why they don't give definite answers anymore, or definitive answers like, what is a woman? It's because they keep changing the definition to make it broader and broader and broader so that they can have any excuse to physically attack someone or socially go on the warpath and try to cancel someone. It's all purposely done so that they can use it as an excuse to hurt someone. And to me, that's where the wonderful Second Amendment comes into play, where you have the right to defend yourself if you need to. And as a man, like we did back in the day, sometimes you just need to beat the shit out of someone. Whoops. I'm so upset that I spilled my water. Woo. Oni Link, what's up, dude? Oh, shit. Greg's packing. I'm packing flavored water on my shirt because I just spilled it. Man, I was like, good thing it wasn't whiskey. No, I'm a big proponent of self-defense. And if you really think about it, you're in the right. Because these people think that you're committing violence against them on the daily. So to them, that gives them the justified reason to act how they do. Randomly go up and sucker punch people, causing problems, XYZ, because they think that no one's going to fight back against them. So they can just go out and do it. But in reality, you're assaulting people. You're doing XYZ. You're doing whatever. And as far as I'm concerned, if your ass gets knocked out, it gets knocked out. And you probably deserve it. All right, so yeah, he's going ham, listing examples of pretty much things that these people are saying that no, it's your people are doing it. So then someone named Cyborg Rose 9917 posted, "Don't act like some of your community isn't toxic. There's going to be toxicity in any community. If you just say you don't condone death threats on anybody, including yourself, that would be enough. No one deserves a death threat." He literally says, be respectful. That is enough. Again. Oh, look, here we go. He perfectly responded to it. How many times do I have to condemn those actions? How many videos, how many tweets? I have over 3,000 and 100 videos on YouTube alone, and in so many live streams and standalone videos, I condemn this behavior. Again, that's why you do not apologize to these fucking idiots. It is not enough to them. And they will use it against you every time. That's exactly what they did with Trump. No matter how many times he said, I'm against white supremacy, it's not enough. Because if they can find a day where you don't respond or you don't say yes, oh, you were always this whole time. Them, of course, though. Oh, I've made up my past. They get the free pass. Gosh. These people are fucking scum. Look at this. It's time that theory uses his platform, his reach, and influence to denounce the threats and attacks. This is how they see you guys. You're just a number. You're just a mindless minion that should follow everything, whoever you're following should say. This is how these people see you. The projection from this person is unbelievable. When I see like my number on Twitter, which I barely even look at because I don't give a shit, yeah, it'd be nice to get more because that means my community's growing. People are enjoying my content and stuff. Yeah, that's something that you kind of keep aware of. But I don't see them as these are, 300 plus people that should follow my every word and whim. What a disgusting piece of garbage this Pete Fletzer person is. Look at this. Silence is endorsement. There you go. Silence is violence. It's not. It's that, what is it, that Five Finger Death Punch song? It's never enough. No, it's never enough. No matter what I say. It's never enough. No, it's never enough. Sorry, not the best singer. Trying to work on it, but. And again, these guys get free passes. They should be forgiven countless of times, but not us. Not you. Oh my goodness, this is. I mean, if you ever want to respond to someone like that, it should just be, who are you, Pete Fletzer? It's all, Eric and I do it sometimes too, where we'll just have a conversation when someone's like smack talking on X. Just have a random conversation. And it's like, hey, do you want to know how to make like a really good batch of like cupcakes or something? You use X ingredient, just completely change the topic. And then they're like, what? It's pretty fun. You're just watching them melt down. So apparently he's uploaded okay. So this is where Wikipedia finally replied and implicated the theory being behind alleged death threats it received. It wrote, it's telling that we didn't get any threats until immediately after he told his followers to, quote, fix Wikipedia. The ones that came to vandalize the site from that are the ones we got threats from. I've been repeating the same thing over and over. For them, if there's any extremist on one side, it's everyone's the extremist. If there's an extremist on their side, well, it's an exception. All right, so then Star Wars Theory has apparently threatened Wikipedia, which is owned by Fandom and a private equity firm, TGP, incorporated with legal action. He said, so now I guess because I'm making good arguments, they have a few psychos, a few assholes that are going around sending them death threats. And now their audience and they themselves are purporting I'm the one sending these threats. It is me, my responsibility, my fan base, my people. And I made a statement on X on Twitter that is erroneous and that is ridiculous. How many times do I have to make the videos? Yep. Damn, he posted it on X. It's got to be true. Wonder, does this show up? It does. The Pepe thing shows up. Nice. It's got to be true. Just got to be. So, again, he points out the hypocrisy of people. It looks like Then he points out how influential Wikipedia is. I remember reading a Forbes article about Wikipedia. They do, if I'm not mistaken, it's online somewhere. You can find it back in 2015 or whatever. They do 120 million. It's online. I'm just reading what this is typed out here, but I'm assuming he's getting to the point that they get 120 million page visits a month, which is insane. His websites play like 10 times YouTube. So that was 120 million views back in 2015. And he could be getting the numbers wrong. But then he points out that you're going to tell me that out of the 120 million people, you're telling me that people that are pissed, it's all from my fan base. No, dude. You got like, what is that? Like 50 times my entire subscription or subscriber base you get in views per month. So then he charged that he would take legal action if they persist. It says, please do not make these claims. I run at this point a very serious company who handles a lot of different jobs and tasks. I do not appreciate the slander that you are throwing towards my company. If you continue to lie and purport that my company is sending you death threats or reporting my followers sending you death threats, I will take legal action against you. I probably wouldn't have said this. I would have just said I'm not responsible for people who follow me. Again, these weirdos see these people as mindless minions because they do it, because that's what they do. Again, they're projecting this. They're the ones that tell their people to go harass them and go report, offensive accounts and XYZ, all that stuff. They're the ones that do that, not us. If anything, that number is that amount of people who enjoy your content and who possibly have similar ideas. And they enjoyed listening to what you have to say. That's it. So do not like that defamation. You are quite a big presence. You're not a little shrimp fry on Twitter with a couple followers. If you continue, I will file a lawsuit against you, telling you right now. I mean, that's pretty much the gist of it. Yeah. So then it kind of just reiterates again that people are assholes. And just pointing out the hypocrisy. So, well, that sucks for him, man. But again, I mean, it costs money, but like, when are you gonna? Oh wait, did I accidentally unpin that? Whoops, did not mean to have that pinned. But yeah, like, these companies need to start shutting the front door. I was going to say shut the fuck up, but I started that phrase wrong. Yeah, it sucks because that's kind of how you get these companies to piss off and shut up, is that it's getting to the point where now you have to start filing lawsuits. And a lot of it is unfortunately becoming defamation lawsuits. And those are hard ones to win. So tying in again with Star Wars is, I'm sure everyone has seen Amanda Stenberg and her cringe victimhood video thing, again from that Park Place. So she released the video on Instagram. We're not watching it because it's hot garbage. I love the fact that she had to put subtitles in, by the way, because she can't rap. She like whispers or something. The oppressed music video, yeah. I guess it was for happy Juneteenth, and to those who are flooding me with the intolerable racism. Again, the projection. Since it took me 72 hours on my laptop. You make all this money and you're just working on a laptop? Bullshit. Female Kaepernick, yeah. To make this song and video, you got 72 hours to respond. I expect choreo. I mean... Oh, is there a picture of her doing that? I mean, you can find it on X, but it is bad. So the song begins with Stenberg gyrating at the term discourse. Yeah, that stupid blinks rapidly over her head. Ironically, the lyrics, "We so bored, don't fuck with your discourse," are repeated. Oh, gosh. Going viral on Twitter again. Open up to news to find some interesting things. 20 million views. Interview with 2018 Trevor the King when I was 13. Okay. I'm not reading this song. Yeah, so she points out police murdering a black boy. I'm sure you're not pointing out other black people murdering black people. My people cried in theaters, finding release. White boys cried, or white people, they could use us as human beings. They could see us as human beings. Trevor asked what I wanted the police to know. I say white people crying was their goal. Dude, simply reading this, it's awful. And she can't even rap it. She's like whispering it. Got to slap on subtitles to make sure people understand what she's saying. I mean, I'm not reading the lyrics. Scroll down here because it's all retarded in the end. Calls out people silly racist, of course. They spin and woke, bastardized it, and appropriate it. You guys, you're the only ones bastardizing is how you're bastardizing Star Wars. Hey, do you think she listened to me? Because I've been throwing around the word bastardizing stuff. I got a $2 million network getting acting work. Oh, press, exactly. And of course, that's what so many people are pointing out about. It's like, shut up, bitch. It's like your net worth is worth more than nice big net worth for being oppressed. All right, so the article is just like talking about like pretty much repeating the lyrics. There you go. That looks like the face of someone oppressed. Her acting range is astounding. My boy Stuttering Craig, who runs the Side Scrollers channel, reported Stenberg issued a copyright claim on his video. He wrote on X, "Holy crap, she's literally claiming copyright on people reacting to her song. You have to be kidding me." And then You and Me in the Movies kind of says like appeal it, and he's like already appealed. He's not the only YouTuber who was hit with copyright claims. Minimal Effort Gaming also reported he was hit with a copyright claim and had to edit the song from a video. I had to edit it out of a video at 10 p.m. last night. How the hell can it be copyrighted? That's why I'm not going to play it, because it's unless I get copyrighted too for just talking about it. Smash JT wrote, I guess you could say she is oppressing people. Drunken Canuck wrote, why is she oppressing herself? React videos are free advertisement. I mean, we're just getting a lot of posts talking about how hypocritical she is. Endymion says Stenberg is copyright claiming anyone who makes content using her dog shit song, by the way. Be careful out there. This girl is not out of touch. She's anti-creator. It's not only out of touch, she's anti-creator too. You're out of touch. What do you make of Stenberg copyright claiming YouTube for playing and commenting on her song? Oh, I don't know.
Go yourself.
There you go. Pigeon said it best. All righty. So now moving on to former Kotaku and IGN editor, again from that Park Place, calls for video game developers and publishers to condemn gamers for opposing woke ideology. So Kate MacDonald, an insult of a last name to the wonderful Norm Macdonald, called for video game publishers and developers to condemn gamers for opposing woke ideology. She is now the video game editor at The Guardian, penned an article condemning gamers for opposing wokeness and the DEI agendas presented at many developers and publishers, and called for these developers and publishers to do the same. Oh, wow. Wikipedia, I thought you said that comes from our side. Huh. How's about that? She begins her article by lying to her audience, claiming that employees received a tremendous amount of targeted harassment. And I'm sure she defined what targeted harassment was. This is simply not true. The targeted harassment was initiated by Sweet Baby Inc. employees Chris Kindred, of course, and Maya Kramer, Kramer. Does she slide into the room every time she makes an entrance? Who encouraged their followers to get a Steam curator listed documenting all games that Sweet Baby Inc. worked on, shut down. On top of that, Kindred attempted to get Cabrera's Rambo's entire Steam account shut down. He's the creator of the list. Steam, yeah. So she posted right here, or whoever, Kindred. The Steam creator harassment group Sweet Baby Inc. detected is led by this purpose, Cabrutus Rambo. I probably said his name wrong originally. Here's them trying to be slick so they don't get reported. Even with the discriminatory language filed off, the group itself still fails the code of conduct. What code of conduct? Yeah, you can't even list it. Like, does it list the code of conduct? I can't increase this, apparently. Anyway, report the fuck out of this group. Finally, he detained and report the creator since he loves his account so much. Kramer operating the Lego Butts account. Lego Butts. Also posted, sorry, no one thing has changed. The number of people who understand that spreading misinformation, again, another buzzword that means nothing. When they do it, it's just a simple mistake. When the enemy does it, burn them to the ground, apparently. Just lets them be racist in public with no consequences has increased dramatically. That has changed. Probably requires some fighting from those with authority. Probably sad face. I'm being made fun of online. Get the government to come in. What a fag. She then made it clear she was talking about the Steam creator list. For example, Steam doesn't have guidelines for curators, as far as I can tell, that would prevent someone from starting a curation group that focuses on, say, Sweet Baby Inc. and warns people not to buy games you're associated with, which could just lift any game at all. No, are you retarded? It's literally called Sweet Baby Inc. Detector. McDonald also bemoaned the fact that gamers opposed to woke ideology discovered that Sweet Baby Inc. was somehow mandating the inclusion of more diverse characters in games. They are. She claims this discovery is untrue, and I'm sure she doesn't list anything. However, it is true. And then there's the mission statement right here. Our mission is to tell better, more empathetic stories while diversifying and enriching the video game industry. Oh, ouch. There you go. We aim to make games more engaging, more fun, more meaningful, and more inclusive for everyone. So less engaging, less fun, less meaningful, and bastardize a franchise for everyone is what they really mean. So Kim Billar also made it abundantly clear he intention with the company is to change the industry. And then she told one of my best friends and I, we teamed up and founded a company. The original desire was just to write together. We wanted to write with the two of us and a friend of ours, and we wanted to write games. But then we realized that as a unit, we realized we were capable of doing for others what had not been done to us, which was to support, empower us, to lift us up, to value our talent, and to help build our skill. So you pretty much realized that you're shitty writers, and so then you decided, well, if we get enough people together, we can infiltrate the industry and bastardize already established franchises, so then we don't have to write it and be creative or anything. So there you go. There's her. So today, what we do is writing, probably very terrible writing, narrative design, story building, story breaking as our first and foremost, yeah. And then secondary work very hard to get marginalized talent into the industry to protect them. Oh my gosh, yeah. She just says, we're doing this first. We're doing the equality and stuff second. Yeah, whatever. Basically, I think to take over in the hopes that some really dope people will be able to lead into a kind of new era for an industry that's been kind of, the same way too long. Almost reminds me of the old phrase, if it's not broken, don't try to fix it. It was rough around the edges, but it wasn't broken. These people think it was broken. That's why they're bastardizing everything. So McDonald would rightfully point out how terrible video game character designs have become, noting that those oppressed to wokeness rightfully took issue with female characters having square jawlines, masculine bodies, and that a number of game journalists took issues with Stellar Blade because the main character was too unattractive. Unsurprisingly, McDonald attempted to twist the complaints to fit her false narrative, writing, "The journalist gave the recent PS5 game Stellar Blade, picture below, bad reviews because its female characters are too hot." Noted they didn't. Journalists did indeed criticize the game for the attractiveness of Eve. One such article by IGN France, of course. He wrote, "The design of the game, particularly its characters, highlights an obvious bias. We're going to smash the alien, but if we can do it while pleasing these gentlemen, that's a bonus. The result is not really a success. It's not new, and other games have chosen to highlight the strength of the female characters, but where Bayonetta stands out with an iconic character design." Oh, you little bitch. Bayonetta is exactly what Eve is, or near, inspires an entire generation of cosplayers. It has nothing to do about cosplay. Talk about video games. Eve from Stellar Blade is just bland. A doll sexualized by someone you think has never seen a woman. I mean, it sounds like you're afraid of women, so. The outlet eventually retracted the comments and issued an apology. Recently, IGN France produced and published a preview of Stellar Blade containing an offensive passage that should never have been kept. The text has now been edited out, and here's our official apology to the Shift Up Corporation studio staff. Also, please note to IGN France, please note that IGN France is an independent branch of IGN, and that IGN's editorial staff had nothing to do with the incident. Oh, but you keep telling us that we're guilty by association. So as far as we're concerned, you're guilty as association too, right? When's your Stellar Blade playthrough? Mine is when I get a PS5 or it comes to PC. That is mine. Do not worry, folks. I really want it to happen, but I just, got to make smart, fun choices at the moment. So next it reads, "The original text of the Stellar Blade preview contained comments that were out of place. While it was never our intention to disrespect Shift Up," yes it was, "or any of its employees or their work," yeah it was, "we recognize that the phrase taken in a literal sense was inappropriate and regret it." Oh, what did you mean it? A joking sense? Oh my gosh. People fucking do this shit all the time. Again, that's why they changed the definitions. Just replace the phrase literal sense. Just replace it with misinformation, and that's what it means. So again, when they do misinformation, they get a free pass because it was a mistake. But when we do it, burn it to the ground. It will happen. It will indeed. To anyone at Shift, okay, so they're just apologizing. McDonald moves to then Assassin's Creed Shadows, where she writes, "Ubisoft was somehow forced by the shadowy forces of Valkyrie to make the main character of its upcoming Assassin's Creed game pictured above a black samurai, contradicting historical evidence." No, the fact is they busted out a huge load when they realized that Yusuke has very little historical information about him, and so then they could just make up a story and use that, pretty much use that character as a diversity main character to show how awesome they are. Burn to the ground. Burn the circus down. Do I actually have that? Oh, not on the Rumble. So Ubisoft has embraced Valkyrie, though. The company has an entire section of their website titled Diversity, Inclusion, and Accessibility. Yep. And then it lists a bunch of woke stuff. I think we've read that before in a past game. Or a game in a past stream. Not surprising. It also choose any idea of certain societies and cultures being objectively better than others under its culture section. It reads, "We keep fostering a culture of inclusion where our team feels seen, heard, and valued. To support this, we will empower global and local employee resource groups to support global teams as they develop their understanding of inclusion and strengthening belonging in their team." If you have to hire a group that they themselves are currently learning about what it means to be inclusive, that's really terrible and terrifying. How come Ubisoft Feudal Japan don't got any white boys in it? Oh, they do. It's the Asian people. Because remember, any race that's white adjacent is just the equivalence to white people. It's literally what Assassin's Creed Shadows is doing. That's what so many people are pointing out. A black dude going around killing Asian people. Yeah, right here. Boop. It's not hard to see the company hiring cannibals in order to be inclusive. This is true only of the company's value. And then the quartering showcased it. I remember seeing that. That's just current day New York City. Oh, gosh. For the record, there's a plenty of historical basis for the depiction of Black Samurai Yusuke in the game. To no surprise, she does not provide any evidence. I provided evidence twice when I read the Britannica information about Yusuke. And the word of the day, and still is unknown. Birthday, unknown. Actual birthplace, unknown. When he was active, unknown. But pretty sure it's around this time. Oh my gosh. And then she chose to defend her former employee IGN in her reported claims that Black Myth Wukong developer Game Science, which is based out of China, promotes sexism and misogyny. Apparently, this person also tried to... Oh my gosh. So just after Summer Game Fest finished, the anti-woke gamers found a new target, a report at IGN which credibly, comprehensively lays out a history of sexism. Didn't someone point out the fact that their only credible and comprehensive layouts is literally their own article or Kotaku article? So it literally means nothing. So the response surprise was to go after the woman who wrote it while also spinning up a ludicrous conspiracy theory that IGN was blackmailing the developers. Well, not IGN. I thought it was Sweet Baby Inc. Oh my goodness. So Asmongold also comments on it as well. Feng-Ji notes that Feng-Ji's comments is a used idiom in the Chinese language as a colloquial expression used humorously or sarcastically to describe a situation where excessive flattery or a sycophancy has an overwhelming, I don't know if I pronounce sycophancy. All right, everything's muted. Never mind. I was going to say a new word of the day, but fuck it. I'm moving on. So as far as the ideas that Game Science was being blackmailed, Niche Gamer notes this is a rumor from a Chinese journalist on social media platform Weibo. The outlet notes that the games is experiencing a harassment campaign from Western critics and journalists after rejecting offers from DEI consultants. And then McDonald claims that gamers do not have, quote, the slightest impact on how games are made. Again, the projection. One might need to ask former employee at Validiton and Luminous Productions if their companies are still making games after they were shut down after Saint Row and Forspoken. And then she paints herself as a victim before making her claim that developers and publishers should condemn gamers opposed to wokeness. She writes, I still don't think there's been enough public pushback against the flavor of online abuse from the biggest publishers in games over the past few months. There it is right there. Again, these people are the ones that are constantly calling for this shit. Everyone else is just pushing back by going, wow, you guys suck. I'm not buying this. Oh, it's harassment. When the consultation sees they work with, the journalists and critics who cover them, and even some of their own developers have been caught in an online shitstorm. Take it from me. Vocal support means a lot. Well, then, tough up. Get over it. Because all of these people who are online, you're a semi-public figure. Even me. People are going to say shit. Mute them. Block them. It's not that hard. Publishers and developers should definitely take her advice so gamers will know which developers and publishers do indeed hate them and can choose to spend their money elsewhere. And if the games are being purchased, one can only imagine that the studios will go the way of Volition and Luminous Productions. And what do I think of McDonald's attack on gamers opposed to wokeness and her advice to publishers and developers? I mean, all of these people are fags. But let's end on a positive note. Miyazaki spends 95% of his time directing games despite FromSoft's president title. So Hidetaka Miyazaki has claimed that he spends the vast majority of his day-to-day work directing games despite his status as the president of FromSoft. Speaking to The Guardian, the Elden Ring director, who was promoted to the president of FromSoft due to the breakout success of his Souls series, has said that the corporate executive life isn't his passion. I enjoy helping growing and nurturing the younger directors, whom I see guiding the company to the next stage. But sitting in a management office all this day isn't my style, he told The Guardian. And that right there is what you need to do. When you actually give a shit about what you do and like to get your hands dirty and actually know how to make success and whatnot, you should be sharing that with other people to carry it on to make awesome games. I played some Soul games. It's frustrating, but you can see where the appeal is. I really get my hands dirty and continue to make games together, through which I hope I can communicate my process to a different generation of talent. Yes, exactly. That's what you need to do. Not like how all these other retards are doing, i.e. DEI garbage. I've had the title of president for almost 10 years now, but I would say about 95% of what I do at the company and how I spend my time is directed towards making games and directing games. Using that ratio, you could say I only actually have about 6 months experience as an executive. Miyazaki first came to prominence as the director of Demon's Souls, an RPG published by Atlas in the West, which birthed the Souls series. While the game's initial launch was muted, it would eventually become lauded as a cult hit, and over a decade later would receive a remake on PlayStation 5, developed by Sony's Bluepoint. In the same article, Miyazaki spoke about the notorious difficulty of the Souls series. Its latest game, Elden Ring, receives its first and only expansion, Shadows of the Erd Tree, this week. And VG, this is from Video Game Chronicles, says the review is made a review and says it's a sequel-sized sensation. And that is an incredible expansion and a worthy follow-up to the generation's best game. In some ways, it's better than the original by providing an experience that's both tighter but also more than double the length of what we expected. And there you go. If only we had a Hidetaka here in the West. Exactly. But there you go, folks. That's all I had for you. Like I said, we covered a lot today. That was really fun. I really enjoyed a lot of the articles. But yeah, man, you're starting to see a lot of people talking out against the DEI that's corrupting everything and how much bullshit it is. And just to add another person, Marty O'Donnell, to talk about that none of this stuff was there back in the day. It all stemmed from current bullshit. So we just got to remember to keep strong, keep fighting the good fight, and be like Miyazaki and try to share like your style, your approach, and how to make good games and write good games for the next generation. Because DEI consultations groups aren't certainly doing it, and they will never do it because they will fail every time. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you are new. Thanks again for hanging out with me. Thanks for enjoying the show. You guys have a good rest of your night. Let's see. Do we have anyone on here we could redirect? Not seeing anybody. Not on Rumble. Not on YouTube either. Well, if that's the case, we're going to sign off for tonight. You guys have a good rest of your night. Take care. God bless. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Thanks for the support. Hope to catch you guys again soon. I may hop on, maybe do some gaming, but probably not. But for sure, tomorrow. So keep an eye out then. All right. Take care, guys. God bless. Have a good night.